And welcome back everybody to Let's Play Sonic Origins Plus. In the last episode, we continued our Game Gear rompage through the 12 games on the Game Gear that we have available to us. And we finished Sonic Drift 2 for the Sega Game Gear, which was the sequel to Sonic Drift. It was a fun little racing game. I had my gripes about it, but it's mostly because of kart racers at the time being the thing they are. And in today's episode, we are going to be taking a different foray in games in the Game Gear library. We're going to be taking a look at Tails' first solo. I got Tails and Solo mixed up. Tails' first solo adventure. This is Tails Sky Patroller. This title was originally released only in Japan, and only for the Game Gear. Tails' solo debut has him flying high and low to save a remote island from witchcraft. This game's kind of a fun little game, and it's not really that long either, so without further ado, let's jump right in. I wanna fly high. I'm sorry, I had to do that since we're playing a Tails game. This is Tails Adventure. This is Tails Sky Patrol for the Game Gear. This was a Japan exclusive game for a long time, and it's kind of weird because this is like his first solo adventure without Sonic attached to any rhyme or reason. Sonic is not in this game at all. But this game is kind of odd. It's more of an auto-scroller. Tails is flying around with a ring in his on the bottom here, and the object is to get through the stage without crashing. If you crash into the wall, you automatically lose a life. You do have a flight meter at the top of your top of the screen there, and it gradually kind of decreases. There's a bunch of obstacles in the way. You can pick up these crystals for points, and the candy refills your flight meter. So there's like two different types of candy. There's the one that's just one piece of candy and one that's a bundle. Obviously the bundle, heals you up by more. But yeah, the object of this game is to kind of just get through the stage without crashing, essentially. Tails can shoot his rings with the attack button to kind of like destroy stuff that's in his way. But he can also use the rings if he flies over a thing with its ring. He can use the item. Like we use the balloon there, and we can use this cart here whenever we fly over it with a ring. The balloon makes it so that we just rise vertically and stop horizontally, in a sense, so we can kind of like get through narrow passages and whatnot. The cart just kind of takes us for a spin across this track here, and it kind of becomes a little auto-scroller a little bit. This is a invincibility, and it's a very short invincibility. I would really suggest using it through this section with a bunch of like circles that spawn, because if you hit those circles, you'll lose a life, because you'll hit the wall, and it's not really that fun. But this is just the training stage. This is a really easy stage. It's not too hard. It just kind of shows you the mechanics, how the game's played. There's a bunch of stuff that Tails can grab with the ring. He can grab a 10-ton weight, which will cause him to drop. You can use this to get on top of the from a top platform to a bottom platform without keep going down straight, instead of keep going left and right and whatnot. These little poles here, I didn't even mention that. If you grab these poles that have directional pads on them, they will cause Tails to kind of go backwards a little bit. This is a lever. This automatically just kind of jettison him in the direction that the lever is going. If you get hit by an enemy, it's not a big deal, as long as you react while he's falling to kind of regain your composure. But yeah, if you don't do anything and you accidentally keep falling until you hit the ground, you will lose a life, obviously. Keep an eye on your flight meter. That is deceptively quick on draining. So, yeah, if you're not too careful not picking up, health recharge items, you will fall and die. Because once that flight meter is down, you will fall and then you will hit the ground and obviously die. But yeah, this game's really easy. It's not that hard to figure out. As long as you just, you know, are very, very, like, perceptive on where things are going to spawn, what you need to do and whatnot, because it's really kind of figure out. Like right here, obviously we want to grab this balloon so we can go up this shaft a little bit without crashing into the wall. You can hit those spinny, like spiny enemies there a little bit, and cause them to go the opposite direction. It's a little switch. You can hit these switches to open up these walls here, and you just grab as much of candy as you can in order to keep your flight meter like healthy here. This segment right here, I like this segment because it kind of really encapsulates everything. Here's the 10-ton weight. Grab this, Tails falls. But if you let go of it, you can grab these crystals, and they go on these poles here to kind of like take us backwards a little bit to grab these guys, and then you're going to grab this balloon here in order to get back up into the spot you were just in. So you can get a bunch of like goodies doing it that way. It kind of has a little fun like aspect of it. It's an auto-scroller, but it's really not that bad. I know auto-scrollers are kind of like frowned upon in a lot of gaming spheres, because if I don't have control of something, that's not a very good thing. I get it. I usually try to go for these little poles here that kind of like throw me upwards in order, because usually they lead to goodie. And then you got these here that Tails spins around and comes back up here this way. This game is really relatively not too hard. And it's really not too long either. As you can see, this is the shortest game that we've played on this channel so far with Game Gear games. It's only like a 20-minute video, because, yeah, this game is not that long. But, other than that, it's a pretty fun little game. Yeah, just remember to grab these bells every time you come by, because, yeah, that's checkpoint. Now we're up to the boss of the stage. The boss here will throw stuff at you. Try to knock you off course here until you hit the tracks and whatnot, lose a life. But the main goal is to keep throwing a ring at him and stunning him, and then once you get ahead of him, he will just jump right into your ring. Tails can grab it with his ring, spin it around, and cause the guy to crash. And if you do that multiple times, eventually you're going to beat the boss. The bosses aren't that hard. The only boss I can see that's really somewhat difficult is the fourth area, if you count the training zone. But now we're into the third zone, Ruinwood. But yeah, the bosses aren't that hard, especially if you get ahead of them. If you get ahead of them, they'll come up behind you and then just present themselves on your ring, ready to throw. It's like they don't comprehend. Their AI just doesn't comprehend to avoid Tails' ring. I'm gonna use this invincibility here to avoid getting hit by the floor there, or that ceiling there. But this stage is pretty cool. I like this one. It has an introduction of like these skeleton enemies. I don't know if I actually show what the skeleton enemies do, but if they jump up, they can burst into a bunch of bones here, and that's no bueno because I can hit you. Got a bunch of these like giant pencils coming down to kind of block your path here. You can destroy these debris here with your ring, so that's not too hard. Grab this balloon, everything else. Like I said, this game is not too hard. I don't know why this game was only in Japan for the longest time. I'm not too well versed on the Game Gear stuff as well, like release dates and whatnot, because the only Game Gear game, I had like a couple Game Gear games growing up when I had a Game Gear. I had like Sonic 2 and Sonic Chaos, and that's about it. But, like, I know that there was a bunch of Game Gear games, like, unlocked when you 100%ed Sonic Adventure DX. Sonic Adventure DX's All Emblems reward is unlocking, like, a bunch of Game Gear games. And I never really played them that way, because it wasn't until recently I just 100%ed Sonic Adventure for the first time. It was like a couple years ago when I did that. I can't remember if this game was included in that bundle that was released with the DX port. So, I know they re-released a bunch of these games on like other consoles, like the 3DS had a bunch of Game Gear games. I can't remember if... I don't think any of the GameCube compilations of Sonic games had Game Gear games. I think they only ever had classic, like, Genesis games. And the Gems collection was, like, Sonic CD and, like, Sonic the Fighters and Sonic R, if I remember correctly. But yeah, this stage is kind of, like, a little bit more tougher than the last one, because you got a bunch of enemies grabbing onto your ring and not letting go. You have those chompers there that, that cause it so you can't use your ring for a little bit, and that's not good. These have a little bit more tight corridors than the last couple stages. You can always grab these balloons, but sometimes, like, it's not even worth it to grab the balloon. Like, it's only, like, just worth it to grab a balloon is when it's obvious that we need to use the balloon for a vertical, like, ascent. So, yeah, this game is pretty fun, though. I can't really gripe too much, because it's obviously, this is, like, this is an easy game. Like, it's not too bad. Like, compared to the other games we played on this channel, this is kind of an easy game. Funny thing about this, now we're at the boss here, this is kind of an example of if you get ahead of the guy, if you manage to stun him and get ahead of him, he's just going to present himself on your ring ready to throw, because he's just going to jump right into your ring. And you could just, you know, do it this way, and then obviously the boss is kind of a cakewalk then. If you want to know how to spin your ring, you just hold the ring toss button. That's how you spin the ring around. But yeah, that's that. The only boss that you can't really use this trick for, I'd say, is the next stage's boss. Yeah, the Metal Island boss, because that boss is really quick, and you'll understand when we get there. But yeah, this game is kind of fun and kind of easy. That's not a bad thing. I'm actually kind of glad, because funny thing about this whole thing is I had to re-record this video. I played through the game twice. I didn't use the first footage because what happened was I set up my software and it didn't record my commentary. Well, I mean, it didn't record my It did this one thing where it merged both my tracks of the game audio and the microphone. And in case you haven't realized, like, for these Game Gear videos, I record an intro and outro, and the rest in the middle is just post commentary. Well, that's fine, but I've always kept the mic on during the whole entirety of my recording session, and that caused a problem because, like, there was no way for me to cut my commentary out or my microphone out when the parts when I wasn't talking, and that was just an issue. So I had to re-record this game again. Luckily, if this was any other game and I, you know, already re-recorded something, I would have tried to figure it out how to fix it. But I just figured since this game is really easy and, you know, it only takes like 20 minutes to get through, I figured I might as well. That's one reason why it took a little bit for this video to come out, in case you haven't realized. So, sorry for the delay on this video in particular. There was nothing wrong, it just ran into an issue. But yeah, this stage is kind of a little bit more treacherous than the last one. You got cannons flying all over the place, trying to shoot you, and try to, you know, cause you to fall down and everything else. There's a lot of stuff in the background that's deceptive, that looks like it's either in the background or foreground, that looks like if you touched it, you would have, you know, taken damage, but it's not really, you don't really take any damage. So it's kind of a little bit more deceptive in that sense. They're just going across the clouds here. I think we're getting close. Oh, I just missed the invincibility. Well, that's okay. Yeah, there's a little bit of invincibility right there before that checkpoint. I'm trying my best to get on this lever here, because, gosh, trying to get through that tight corner is kind of a little bit difficult whenever you don't want to die by accident. So, yeah, I think the max amount of lives you can get in this game is 9, because I do manage to get 9 lives in this this playthrough here. We're on 7 right now, but later I'll get 9 in the next stage. We're close to beating this game. This is the second to last level of the game. I forgot to mention that the plot of this game is kind of weird. Tails is like a sky patrol. He's like a police agent. He's going after a bunch of these like hooligans or people like witchcraft and whatnot. That's the name of the witch that we saw in the intro. But there's a bunch of these hooligans that are causing mischief on this island. I forget. I think it's called Coco Island, if I remember correctly. And Tails is like taking up like duties as a police officer, like a sky patrol agent or something like that, in order to capture these criminals. I think that's kind of funny. He's like trying to capture all these bad guys. This is the boss I was talking about that's a little bit harder. This is probably the hardest. I wouldn't say it's like the most difficult boss in the game. Namely because it keeps going on forever, and there's a bunch of healing items around here, as you can see, with the candy all over the place. But it's so hard to keep up with this boss that you can't do that strategy of getting ahead of it and letting it jump into your ring in order to get ready to throw. And there's not a lot of places you can throw this boss on the ground in order for it to take damage. So the best strategy I can really say is just try to keep ahead of it and keep throwing your ring at it, because the ring does do damage to the boss. So you can shoot the giant lipstick back at the boss, and it stuns the boss for a little bit. But yeah, you just want to keep on hitting the boss with your ring here, and then eventually you will beat the boss. So don't worry if you're having trouble trying to keep ahead of this boss, because I can tell you one thing, it's hard to even do that strategy I was talking about. Now we're into the last level, Dark Castle. This is the last stage of the game, and oh lordy, there's a bunch of stuff in this stage that could kill you. There's a bunch of like these enemies around here with like projectiles that shoot at you, with these cannons and everything. There's spike balls everywhere. And later segment, we have the reappearing circle blocks that appear out of nowhere and cause you to crash into the wall and then lose a life because of it. So yeah, just be on the mindful of that, because this level is a little bit more trickier. I think this is the level that took me the longest time in my re-recording session. I think I recorded this in like an hour with resets and everything. There's a one up there, but I don't want to take it because that's risky. This is the segment, I think. Yeah, this is the segment with the reappearing circles. I just try to rush it in that segment, because if you try to rush it, you can beat them, essentially. So just be careful. Yeah, the reappearing circles is kind of annoying. Especially, you can destroy them with your ring if you toss it, but the problem is if you keep holding back in order to make Tails to kind of slow down a little bit, or like brake a little bit, it gets a little bit annoying, because sometimes those circles will appear right on top of you when you don't want it to. So it's annoying. I think I'm finally hit the max life count here. So I'm gonna use this balloon. We're gonna grab onto this trolley here. You can go for that invincibility if you want to. I don't really find it necessary to even get it. We clear out this debris here. And this segment I really like, because you fly up here and there's, you know, crystals right here, and then you take these poles back and you get a bunch of these candies right here to refill your energy, because especially at this part in the level, you're gonna need more energy for your flight meter. So just take it. And I try not to jump back that way. I want to try to get past the stabby pencils, as I called them. There's turtles over here throwing their peanuts. I think those are nuts. I'm pretty sure those are nuts. Got more of these skulls here. But yeah, this game is pretty fun though. Other than that, I pretty much said everything I wanted to say about this game. It is kind of a weird game because it's an auto-scroller, and we don't see auto-scrollers very much except for like shmups and everything. I guess you could count this as a shmup. Shmups are pretty fun. I've always really liked shmups. But honestly, I probably would consider Tales Sky Patrol a shmup. Because it has all the qualities of it. You're shooting a ring at the enemies, and, you know, it's an auto-scroller. You have no control whether or not you keep advancing. And it's not a very long game. So this is Witchcraft. This is the final boss of the game. It's a giant witch in a trolley here. Basically the same tactic goes as the other bosses. Try to get ahead of her so she could just jump right into your ring, and then you'll be set up for a takedown move where you spin around and hit him on the ground. And then you just, you know, do that. You keep doing that. As long as you're ahead of her and you get above her, she'll just ride into your ring for whatever reason. And that's it. Tails is beating Witchcraft. I've always loved the character's name is Witchcraft. But we cleared Dark Castle, and thus we have completed Tails Sky Patrol. And this is the ending. You get Tails flying around. He's just all happy. He did his job. I love Tails. I'm so happy that Tails got his own games on this console, because Tails' games are pretty fun, and they're different than the other Sonic games that we played on this adventure so far. They're their own thing. And we'll definitely see that with the next game, because Tails has got not only one, he's got 2 games on the Game Gear. But, yeah, that's Tails Sky Patrol. I don't know why this game was never localized until recently, because this game is, you know, kind of harmless. I don't see why this couldn't have been localized earlier. Oh my gosh, it's an AT-AT. It's an AT-AT. It's from Star Wars. Sorry, I love seeing the credits of the names here. And then some of them were just like first names, wrong name. Thanks to Monty. But yeah, this game is pretty fun. It's really short, and honestly, I think everybody can probably play this game pretty easily. So one of the easier games on the 12 that came with Origins Plus. And I was kind of not impressed when I first played it. I didn't think this game was really that great. But this game came around to me for a while after I played it numerous times. This game is kind of cute, and I love it. And that's Tails Sky Patrol. It's really, like I said, it's a really easy game. But now, so with that, I will talk to you guys back when we do live commentary. But yeah, guys, that was Tails' first debut game. Solo debut game. That was Tails Sky Patrol. This game is pretty fun. It's really easy and really kind of like relaxing game. You can beat it pretty quickly. But in the next episode of Let's Play Sonic Origins Plus, we're going into probably by far my favorite Game Gear game on the system. This is Tails Adventure. This is his second game. I'm looking forward to this adventure a lot, but I'm also dreading it because I know this next video is going to be really long. So just bear with me in the next episode. So with that, I'll see you guys in the next episode.